Newcastle, the second largest city in New South Wales. Newcastle is a city that has been on the up and up for some time now, morphosizing itself from a sleepy blue-collar working town and transforming itself into a cultural and culinary delight. In my view, it's a bit like Melbourne, with the stylish, even artsy building designs, the laid-back feel from the locals, and the best part? The food scene. Yep, we're foodies, and it's the cuisine that made us want to visit Newcastle. I knew there were supposedly some good restaurants in Newcastle, but from traveling around and experiencing a dozen or so firsthand, my partner and I now know there are many, many more restaurants that we are sure to visit upon our next trip to Newcastle. There are restaurants everywhere, and it seems more are popping up on a daily basis. And who knows, maybe we can also review those at a later date. I'm no chef, but I know good food. And I'm not a professional restaurant critiquer, but I can tell you I enjoy the learning process, and the best part? Getting out every day to different restaurants and tasting what they had on offer. Now I understand it takes a lot more than just one sitting to fairly critique the food, the service, and the overall experience of most restaurants. But then, if you owned and operated your own restaurant, then I believe first impressions are at the forefront of obtaining and keeping customers. So every day a restaurant should do its utmost for its customers. This is why my wife and I simply showed up at a recommended restaurant. Nothing was pre-planned, nothing rehearsed. They didn't know we were coming. They didn't know they were being critiqued. Once they saw the camera and the light and some other odds and ends, they may have had some idea, but other than that, they had no time to prepare, making it just par for the course, just like any other day of operation. This to us was a fair way and an honest way to approach doing a restaurant review. Now, there's certainly more to do in Newcastle than just food and restaurants, but for us, that's the whole reason we were there. So sit back, we hope you enjoy our restaurant review video. Here is our 4-day trip to Newcastle.
You can cook.
It's my birthday weekend, and my wife asked me, what do I want to do on my birthday? I could go to the Cook Islands or whatever I wanted. Well, believe it or not, I've decided to go to Newcastle and do like a restaurant extravaganza review. So that's what we're going to do. I'm heading off to New Zealand. I'm going to meet my wife there. She's at work. And we're going to find out exactly just how good some of these restaurants are. We're going to hit about 12 restaurants. Bear with me. I've never been a restaurant review person. So, first thing I got to do, I got to get to New Zealand. I got to get to Newcastle. I'll see you there. And just like that, we're here in Newcastle. For you guys, 2 seconds. For me, probably about an hour and a half. Good morning, YouTubers. So what we're going to do, down below in the description, you'll find a time code for all the restaurants that we review. And we're going to review the breakfast restaurants first, then the lunch, and then the dinner. We really had a really good time here in Newcastle, experiencing all the restaurants, and right from the very, very expensive and maybe to the more affordable, but still all good restaurants. You're going to enjoy this.
See you, YouTubers. Over on it.
Our first breakfast, one Picket Fence. Not a bad coffee. We both found it had a very slight bitterness to it, but not enough to say it's a bad coffee. We actually had another one. The food was prepared in a timely manner, and we both enjoyed our breakfast. The staff were nice, polite, and went about their duties. Now we would go to one Picket Fence again. The next breakfast place was at the Blue Door, just a stone's throw from one Picket Fence. Lots and lots of space inside and out at the Blue Door. The coffee? Well, this place made the best coffee compared to all the places we had coffee in Newcastle. No bitterness, nice and strong, just like it should be. The food, I had the Spanish brekkie and Pauline the fritters. We can both tell you the food didn't disappoint either. The Spanish dish had a nice taste, zing, and heat to it, and Pauline's fritters were overflowing with flavors. I've never been one much for fritters, but these were very nice. We both really enjoyed our brekkie selections. Again, the staff were on the ball, nice, attentive, and kept a watchful eye on their customers for any further requirements. The day we left for home, we treated ourselves to yet another Blue Door brekkie. It was sort of like a guarantee of getting very good coffee and breakfast again. We can highly recommend the Blue Door for breakfast. Now, I had our first lunch by myself as my wife was working and dropped into a little dumpling place on Darby Street called Dumpling Flavour. Now, I thought I hit pay dirt when I noticed the staff making dumplings by hand. But I have to be honest, I was a tad disappointed. The 3 different dumplings I tried seemed to be missing some oomph. Just not the flavor that I was expecting. And anyone who knows me knows I love a dumpling lunch. Still, I would have this any day over a McDonald's burger. Our next lunch, yep, dumplings again, but this time we found ourselves just across the road from the Kent Hotel at the Dumpling Story. Doesn't look much from the outside. Matter of fact, it doesn't look like much of anything, but once inside, everything changes. They put some real effort into making this place nice inside, and again, you can watch the staff making homemade dumplings right before your eyes. And they only make them as they are ordered, not a day or two ahead of time. Nice. It's not a large place, but it fills up very quickly at lunchtime with customers that know what they're in for, and that is nice Asian cuisine. We ordered an assortment of dumplings. They were all very nice and tasty. The chili sauce, which looks like it'll blow your head off, turned out to be a slow build in heat, but never enough to say you've had enough. This was a nice dumpling lunch, and we would definitely go again. If you like dumplings, we can highly recommend the Dumpling Story. Our first lunch was just a hop and a skip from our accommodation to the Honeysuckle Hotel. Very convenient for us. This is situated literally on the water. The water views are fantastic. This place has that kind of rockin' feel. A really splendid place to sit and have a cold beer. And I'm afraid that's it. Our lunch, which we shared, was just, I gotta say, average. We ordered a sort of Portuguese chicken burger. The chicken was a bit tough, and it was very, very dry. It looked nice on the plate, made for a great photo, but we won't be dining here again. It's also order and pick up at the cashier, making it, for us anyway, a bit of an inconvenience. But maybe that's just me. I like to relax, and being waited on makes for a more pleasurable experience. For some nice views, to sit and have a few drinks, this is a nice place, but for us, the food doesn't cut the mustard. Subo. Now this place has a wow factor. This would have to be my wife's and my very first experience with really, really fine dining. And oh man, what an experience it was. Again, it doesn't look like much from the outside, but once inside, the food extravagance starts the moment you enter the door. The staff were impeccable and put a whole different level to waiting on tables. Word of warning here, you just don't rock up and expect to get sitting at the Subo. This is by bookings only, and you may have to book a month or 2 in advance if you want a Friday or Saturday sitting. And you're going to pay. This place is not cheap. Also, the evening's 6 courses are already planned for you. There is no choice. Now that's not a bad thing, just means the chefs can concentrate on making a dish and taking it to such extreme levels of flavor and quality, rather than an overloaded menu trying to accommodate to everyone's appeal. We started off with a short wait at the front with a glass of wine and fresh oysters. The white wine was sensational, but I wasn't too impressed with the way the oysters were served. Along with the flavorings, there was shaved ice over them. Now, I didn't care for that at all. Mind you, the oysters were exceptionally fresh, and I suspect they had just been opened. They were that nice. The rest of the evening was a constant food sensation, one after the other. I can cook up some fantastic food, but I couldn't do what these chefs do. Each course was an entirely new experience of flavors and textures. I was like a kid in a candy store. This really was like being in heaven without dying to get there. So Subo, superb food, fantastic staff, and unbelievable chefs. You can't go wrong here. Highly, highly recommend.
You can cook!
The Squires Maiden. This place is virtually a dozen steps from the Honeysuckle Hotel. Another place with plenty of room and nicely laid out, and the food is pretty good too. Pauline had a slow-cooked brisket. I had the slow-cooked smoky pork belly. Both were fall-apart tender, and although they used liquid smoke for the smoke flavor, we both enjoyed our dishes. The only negative here is the potato salad we ordered. We sent it back. It tasted like nothing. It virtually had no taste at all. It was weird. We found that strange as everything else tasted great. And to top that off, when I went to pay the bill, they still charged us for the potato salad. Now, how does that work? Do you like Italian? We think we have the place for you, Il Volcano. It certainly looks like a hole in the wall. But walking inside, you could be forgiven thinking you just entered Little Italy. Seems the whole family puts their hand in running this place. Polly and I were recommended this place for their chicken schnitzel. Now, I'll be the first to admit, this isn't the absolute best chicken schnitzel in the world, but I give them a 10 because of the size. I never in my life have seen a plate of schnitzel so large. I knew from the moment I saw it coming to our table, I wouldn't even get close to finishing my plate. Large is an understatement. Flavor-wise, it doesn't receive a 10, but it did taste nice and we would go again. Only this time, I think we might share a schnitzel. The waiter was efficient, the cashier lady was very attentive, and Mama and Papa, I think, did all the cooking. You can really feel the family atmosphere here, and they all made us feel right at home. And to top it off, we couldn't believe how cheap it was to eat here. $26 for my plate of schnitzel, steamed veggies, and the entire plate below the chicken was full of chips. We really enjoyed our time here, and it's a nice little restaurant to go to.
You can cook. I was big.
Because you didn't like it?
Nope, loved it.
You loved it?
Too big though.
Too big?
Yeah.
Ooh.
But good.
Very, very good, but big portion. But
Parmesan.
good food.
Chicken Parmesan.
Chicken Parmigiana is good food.
What about Asian? Vietnamese cuisine, to be precise. The Vietking restaurant. Now, we stumbled upon this place as we strolled down Darby Street one evening. This place boasts real, authentic Vietnamese food, and I gotta say, having been to Vietnam, this place will not let you down. This is the real deal. We ordered a bánh xèo, you may know it as a crispy Vietnamese pancake, and a salad, can't remember which one, with tender beef. These came with the famous and popular chili sauce Nuc Cham. The version here is tamed down a bit for us Caucasians, but still, this chili sauce goes with so many Vietnamese dishes, kind of like ketchup for us Americans, only 100 times nicer. Seems this place goes out of its way to ensure very, very fresh ingredients, which is a must for so many dishes in Vietnam. The staff were very friendly, and just like in Vietnam, they go out of their way to make sure everything is okay with each and every customer. Pauline and I have already stated to ourselves, this is one restaurant we will definitely go back to every time we are in Newcastle. It is that good.
You can cook.
Oh, perfect! We had afternoon drinks in a few places, but check out Cole and Cedar if you like craft beers, cocktails, and fine whiskeys. I'm not going to go any further, but you're going to find this an experience. Lots of places to have a relaxing cold one along the water's edge, and check out the Yacht Club. We were lucky enough they had a live band playing when we were there. This place has that rocking sort of nice vibe, a more mature clientele, and with the music to match. Perfect for a Sunday afternoon. Okay, so that's the end of our Newcastle restaurant extravaganza trip. We've really enjoyed the restaurant food, and we've really enjoyed Newcastle. If you like what you've seen, show us a little bit of support and smash that like button. And if you really like what you've seen, then make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm Rick Michelle. This is You Can Cook, and stay safe, everyone.